A man should conceive of a legitimate purpose in his heart and set out to accomplish it. He should make this purpose the centralizing point of his thoughts.
Something I would ask someone who's pessimistic about their future and where their life is going, this is what I would say. How are you enjoying or not enjoying your life now, up to now that you've created? Whether or not you believe you've created it, then they'd answer. And then you'd say, what if there was a chance that what you think about and what you put your energy on keeps shaping your life and where it's moving and growing into or not moving and growing into? So I would say to them, what do you think the future looks like? And when they say it, and I'll say, do you really believe that? And if they're being pessimistic, and then I'll say, then you're right. You have just read your future. And I'm not doing that to be mean, but I'll just say, why don't you try something else if you would like to feel something different or have a different future? Try something different. Try it. Try it for 30 days. Try shifting your focus just for 30 days. See what you think. Because whatever you think the future is going to be, you got it. You're right. You're 100% always right. It is. Because it's the way you're going to experience it. So it's up to you.
All right, everybody. That was Faith Rivera from the new movie As a Man Thinketh. And we got Faith Rivera on the line right now. How are you, Faith?
Aloha.
Aloha. You are
Aloha.
Sitting in your home in Hawaii right now, aren't you?
I am. I'm looking at Cocoa Head and the blue sky and just, totally happy to be with you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you recently made the move over there, and we're so excited to have you on today.
Thank you. Me too. I always have a great time with you anyway, and we both are freaks about talking about, all this stuff.
I know. Well, what's funny is this is the third film that I've done like this, and you're in it. And so you're like a regular cast member in these movies, Faith.
I know. I just, I'm along for the ride, John.
Have people been seeing you in these movies, or?
They definitely have, and people have reached out, sometimes like to do events, and I'm excited, and humbled to be a part of it. I don't consider myself a guru in any of it, but I know I sure love what it's about. And I love sharing with you and like learning how to make our lives, more fun. Call me anytime to do that.
Well, what I got to say is that whenever I first got into New Thought and first found out about New Thought, I was coming to it from a perspective of being a musician. And so, I had all this like positive music that I was already doing. And so I wanted to connect with other, positive music artists and that sort of thing. And I remember like you were one of the first artists that I listened to, and I was like, man, really? This girl's awesome. And so, so you and I don't know if you remember this, but you and I actually met at Unity Village. I came to Sound Connections, which was Unity's music conference. Yeah. And I just fell in love with your personality, your music. And so whenever it came time to do the first documentary, I was like, I've got to get Faith Rivera in this thing. I just loved your personality and everything that you had going on. And so I so much appreciate you being a part of these movies.
Well, now you're bringing me back of why you started first in your first film, including the songwriters.
Yeah. And that was because if you remember in the first movie, What is New Thought, we went through a lot of the history and that sort of thing, but we also did a section where it was just focused in on the music of New Thought and sort of the message that some of these musicians and artists were getting across, and you were very much a part of that section of the movie. So glad that we got to tell that part. It was where you had gone with Agape Choir over to the Parliament of World Religions.
Yes. I do remember that. Wow, that's a lot for you to take. I mean, when I say for you to take in, I mean just as, this open person to all these new thoughts and the new musicians and And I was happy to tell all my stories. So, that it could be, I'm just still amazed, that you're able to take all of that and create these films. And there's still so much in these teachings, That's why there's, from 3-minute songs to discussions to practical application. And I feel like all your films have been delving and playing with those different ways. And so it's just fun. You're going to be making a lot of movies, and can I just be in all of them? That'll be my contract.
There you go. There you go. We're going to put you in all of them.
Okay, good.
And we did. We put you in this new movie, As a Man Thinketh. And and it was really cool to get to meet up with you at the last Posse Festival and kind of pick your brain about what do you think about this, what do you think about that, and this week we are diving into the section on purpose, and I know I had you read it beforehand to kind of go over a few things, but I wanted to talk to you just kind of in particular because you seem like a person who has a lot of focus and a lot of purpose in your life in the way that you go after your music. How important is that to you, having a drive and a purpose and a focus?
Well, I think it's everything, and I think even when I was younger, even though I had stage fright, that purpose that I didn't even know drove me through that fear.
Yeah.
And I said, you got to keep going. And as it became clear to me, it was to make a difference through my music.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about, isn't this section also called the official title Thought and Purpose?
Right.
Or
right.
Thought and Purpose. I think what I love about the idea of having a purpose is that it focuses your efforts. When I first tried to, get into the music industry, I did everything, right? Like I was part of a girl group. I went with a rock band. I did this and this. And until I found that focus, which thank God, the universe, all the signs and people came in to lead me. And I think the universe leads you to where your heart's desire is really already, it knows, even though I might not know. And it led me to, the career I've had serving people and, sharing through uplifting music. So purpose has been everything to me. Yeah. Because if not, I don't know why I think anyone can feel good doing music for music's sake, but for whatever strange reason, for me, it was music paired with serving others.
Having a message and something to share, something in particular that's only yours to share.
And I think my purpose too, as I've found more, is it's more than singing a song. It's really engaging. I don't know, the audience to feel something, to feel purpose themselves. Is that strange? But
I think that's cool.
I think a song can do that. A song can do that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
well, now we got to talking beforehand. One thing that in this section that kind of brought to mind was, I've heard a lot of people over the years say you should come up with your own mission statement. Do you have anything like that you've ever put together, like your own mission statement?
Oh, I revised it hourly. When I was hot and heavy, especially learning, all these tools and the secrets, of the, these laws of the universe, it excited me. But man, I spent so many hours painstakingly crafting the words of, I would do this by singing and uplifting and not to knock that time down, because it was important to do. But what I've realized is that there ultimately, from what I've seen, there's really just the one purpose, one intention at the end of the day, which was we just want to feel happy. We want to feel better, lighter. And so for me, my fancy mission statements, I don't know, they've become simpler. And, if I feel like everything we do is to get us to feel good, then why can't I choose that now, that state of being? So if I'm going to apply any effort, instead of applying it to my my 30-word mission statement, I'm going to apply it instead to really being conscious of my thoughts and conscious of how I'm feeling and putting all of that effort. And, he talks about will, and discipline. And I usually don't like those words. But I love those words because I apply them to that, my thoughts, the seeds I'm planting. And so my mission statement is just so much more broad and simple, to choose to be happy. And it's a moment by moment practice.
That's awesome.
Makes sense to you?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So he, So he starts off, he says, until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. And he goes on to talk about aimlessness being a vice. Drifting must not continue for him who would steer clear of catastrophe and destruction. They who have no central purpose in their life fall easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings. And I think that's really cool because I find that I know that the days and the weeks whenever I wake up and I have something that I'm trying to accomplish that day, those days are great days because I know what's ahead of me. I know what I'm trying to accomplish and what I'm trying to do. Whereas the days whenever, I'm just kind of freewheeling, I am kind of vulnerable to those worries and those fears popping up. Don't you find that to be true? Whenever you're grounded in trying to accomplish something or
I do. And I think accomplish something to me doesn't always have to mean a certain task. I mean, it used to for me, but I think what you're talking about is the value of focus.
Sure.
Yeah, the value of focus. Because I remember I read, I forgot if it was Tim Ferriss or something who said, like, in the mornings, if you can just at least like fix your bed in the morning, and why that was such a big thing, because you feel accomplished.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And also that passage that you read made me think of the idea of, well, going back to focus. Also, when you have focus, I think your eyes are set on that. So maybe you're not going to be like pulled away when some horrible news or Facebook scroll. But it also made me think of the idea that when you're aimless or don't have focus, you can be more reactive because you have you're not being a creator of your experience, right? But when you wake up with that task you want to do, you have more of that,
right? That drive or.
Well, and the purpose or the intention in mind.
Yeah.
And so no, I totally agree with you.
And one of the things we were talking about earlier too, you talked about you were talking about purpose versus intention. He talks about purpose so much here, but I think we're really talking about the same thing in terms of setting your intention. Is sort of the same thing as what he's talking about in terms of purpose.
Yes. I think in reading his words, it makes me feel, and again, it's more of my personal experience, it makes me feel of maybe how my life was a little bit more about the tasks, the to-do list, doing stuff, and I was telling you, I like intention.
Right.
I like intention because it's broader. I think when I decided, like, I want my life to be about joy and happiness, like, I don't have to pick, like, exactly what that looks like. And I can be open to, like, the universe surprising me.
Yeah.
That's the part I like.
Well, that's like our good friend Bishop Barbara King. I don't know if you know her, but she always says this or something better whenever she's setting an intention. I love that.
Oh yeah,
this or something better.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm almost like, well, why am I going to pick a thing when there's probably something better?
Right, exactly. Spirit might be leading me to something even better than that.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
So.
You were talking about you don't like what was it? You said
what don't I like?
You said the way he worded something about willpower or something. But I wanted
I said about will and discipline. I was talking about
I was gonna bring this up because there's this section in here that kind of goes back to that. It says, as the physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts can make them strong by exercising himself in right thinking. And so I think maybe that's kind of what he's getting at when he's talking about discipline and willpower. He's talking about building up those muscles of our thoughts. We don't whenever we first get into this teaching, we don't really think about it in those terms. We think, oh, well, we're just reacting to the way things are,
Exactly. Yeah.
But we can be intentional, we can be purposeful, and we can build those muscles as we go along.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, which is why will and discipline, I think when it's applied to our thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the word? Monitoring our thoughts and how we speak and show up. I mean, it's like, I know it's an ongoing, everyday practice. I mean, I probably have lots of, we're like bodybuilders.
Pump that iron.
Mental builders. I don't know. So, no, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I think when I said I don't love it, it just brings up when I was a kid in first grade and, playing scales all day long, but everything takes that
But it's
practice, though,
about,
I agree.
it's about making it, secondhand nature,
Yes, yes,
And when we talk
yes,
about, music,
yeah,
whether it's, doing your scales or whatever, it's about
yep,
making that secondhand nature to where you
uh-huh,
don't even have to do it intentionally. It just
yes,
shows up for
yes,
you. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part to see, well, for me to see my growth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. But I'll tell you this, have you had this experience of, because I'm on this path and you have all these positive things. And yet from, I don't know where, out of the blue, it will fly into my mind. I was at a beautiful lake in a lake out in Alberta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Lake Louise, I think it was called. And it was aqua blue, lake. And I'm taking a walk and I'm at this, World Congress on Illumination. I mean, high vibing. I'm walking and the vision that comes to my mind is a bear eating my head. Like a cartoon. I'm like,
where did that come from?
Yeah, so when you talk about the discipline, I
Yeah.
learned at
Yeah.
once that comes in, I
Yeah.
change it. Then, instead of the bear eating my head,
Right.
I'm dancing
Yeah.
with him in my head. I mean, it's like,
Yes.
and I kind of laugh, but it's a mental, I don't know,
Yeah.
not circus, but purpose definitely keeps you on track with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one of the big quotes in this book that
Yeah.
has kind of endured is man, sooner or later finds that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. And it makes me think about there was a teaching that Tony Robbins had in Awaken the Giant Within, where he talks about, our mental images. And sometimes we have those mental images that are detrimental to ourselves, right? But what he said is train yourself to replay those mental images in a way that's funny, or it sort of changes the perspective. Become the director that's going in and editing that scene and reframing that scene to play it differently in our minds over, and so it makes me think about what you said about the bear, coming out.
I do that all the time. Like a thought will slip in. I'm like, well, and I used to agonize over like, where did that come from? Is there still a dark place? I'm like, you know what? Blah, it's just old stuff. Maybe who knows?
Sure.
But that's not my intention or my purpose. So it's okay. Yeah.
I'm with you. I understand completely. And then you'll have a dream or something that'll show up, and you're like, what? What was that about?
Yeah. And talking about will and discipline. I mean, I don't want to say it's a long journey, but it is, because we might know, like you and I might be talking about something here right now really valuable, but it may take us 10 years to really have it be a part of our lives where it's second nature. That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
But it's a constant tweaking and refining and, working it out. Changing those eating bears into dancing bears.
That's right,
right?
dancing bears.
Yeah.
I love it. He goes on. He says, thoughts of doubt and fear never accomplished anything and never can. They always lead to failure. Purpose, energy, power to do, and all strong thoughts cease when doubt and fear creep in. The will to do springs from the knowledge that we can do. I think that's cool. Where he says, thoughts of doubt and fear never accomplish anything and never can. It makes me think of that old adage of can't, never could. I don't know if you ever heard that when you were a kid. Like
it didn't make it to Hawaii. Tell me the Hawaii
version. Let's see. So like if you're talking to like I'm talking to Caroline, and she says, "Daddy, I can't do that," and then you say, "Well, can't, never could." In other words, if you think you can't, you're definitely not. Right?
Yes. So what it made me think of was when I first read them, like, no, it does accomplish something. It accomplishes exactly what you just said. You said you can't, so exactly.
Right, there you go.
So I mean, so it says, the laws of the universe, what they say are impersonal, right? So the doubts and fears, and I know his point. He's trying to say, like, who wants to create that? But it's as powerful. It's powerfully creating our life, and I don't know. You can't, at least for me, I don't think I've ever been able to just have a doubt and fear leave in an instant.
Sure.
It's been a gradual thing, because they say, our cells hold the memory. So my mind may be moving ahead, but my body's still like freaking out. So thus,
your body is walking over hot coals, but your feet are feeling the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I always go back to my intention of like, how can I feel better right now? How can I know it sounds so simple, but
but I think that's good.
Because revolutionizing my life to live each moment that way. How can I feel better? So.
Well, I got to tell you something. Whenever I was first going through the footage from this film, I was really kind of down about it, because like
what?
Well, I had all this stuff in the can, and I had not, it just felt like it was overwhelming to me. You know what I mean? And so
I can only imagine.
So what I did was I ended up putting all this footage on a timeline, and I had 5 hours or something worth of just interviews, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening back to all the different interviews and stuff, and then your interview came on, and it was like, in a lot of ways, it felt like you were speaking directly to me at that point in time. It was very therapeutic for me, Faith.
Awesome, John.
Because you kept talking about our focus, and what am I focused on in this moment, and that really kind of helped me get through that point in time. And so I want to thank you for that, because you really,
you're welcome.
You were speaking to me.
You're welcome. And I mean, so don't you feel like focus really goes hand in hand with this idea
really
of purpose?
Does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they could be interchangeable, because a person might not feel like, I have a purpose in my life, but if their focus is, I don't know, I just want to make it through this day a little bit happier or something, it'll change the way they experience it, I think.
I think and it goes back to that sort of idea where you were talking about redirecting yourself.
Yeah. And that's what takes will and discipline, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, tell me if I would think you do this too. I'll read the next headline or the sensationalized headline on Facebook. Man, I want to press.
Oh, I know.
What happened with all the people that got hurt, or it's a bomb, or the threat.
Yeah.
And I just want to press it, and I have to exert my will. Have some discipline.
I know. Well, you have to ask yourself, am I going to make this, am I actually going to be able to do anything with this? Or
is it going to enrich my life?
Right. Or am I going to be able to help in some sort of way?
Yeah. I used to want to look up all the, read all the conspiracy theories. I mean, it's interesting and fact, but also you're like, what else is going on underneath? I'm like, after a while, I kept going down the rabbit hole. I'm like, this is an endless rabbit hole, and I don't feel any better. Like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not going to provide a better life for myself. So anyway, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so he goes on. He says, "He who has conquered doubt and fear has conquered failure." And then right after that, he goes into thought allied fearlessly to purpose becomes a creative force. He who knows this is ready to become something higher and stronger than a mere bundle of wavering thoughts and fluctuating sensations. He who does this has become the conscious and intelligent wielder of his mental powers.
Yeah. I love it, because don't you feel like when he's writing, in their verbiage of that time, he's kind of dissing.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to smack this down.
Yeah. If you're going to be of weak mind, don't you want to master your... Right. But I feel like, especially in New Thought, this is our time to slay it.
Yeah.
I mean, not slay it in a... You know what I mean.
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
I need to live it. That's really where I am right now. That's why I'm here in Hawaii. I need to be able to live it. Not just when I'm singing out on a stage and having fun with you at the pauses. Yeah. I need to be able to show up and do everything he's saying and create this life of love with the people right here, with my daughter when she's screaming at 4 a.m. Yeah. So I love his exuberance behind it. And it's time, We're creators. We are creators, and much of our life, I wonder if every day if we each had our own personal pie, what would be the ratio of reactivity or reaction reactor
Yeah.
to creator, and
or intentional. When are
yeah,
when are we
or
intentional?
the
Yeah,
aimless.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for the creator part. I mean, I
Mm.
don't. Yeah, that's going to be such a trip when we get there. But that's my purpose. I think is to live that deeper
Yeah.
and realer.
But I love that because he's basically saying that when we learn how to not necessarily get rid of fear, because a certain element of fear is actually healthy, but when we
Mm.
can sort of I guess control it, maybe.
Or use it to propel us forward. I remember
Right,
when I
right.
was trying to move through my stage fright, me and my reframing,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'd be like, oh, every time I'm scared, it means I'm at another leaping point.
Sure.
I'm at
Yeah.
another edge.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that worked all the time, but it was the way I tried to reframe it. Yeah.
But I guess the overarching theme is that if we're so fearful and so much full of like self-doubt, we never
Yeah.
really get started. We
Yeah.
can't accomplish anything if we're just afraid that we're going to fail.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because there's not really, and we sort of have to reframe this thought of failing or being victorious in the sense of we just get results.
Well, yeah. Wait, it's in his. Yeah, it's in one of his quotes where he
Yeah.
says, "Recognize failure is one of the pathways to attainment."
Right. Right.
It is. It's a natural step onto what's next, your next level of success, and then you'll have another failure. There's just another word for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a fancy word for it, but it doesn't have to feel like a failure.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It just is results. And
Yes.
if we don't like the results we're getting,
Yes.
then we figure out a way to change.
Well, and I love the second. I mean, as the quote goes on about recognize failure as one of the pathways to attainment, who makes all conditions serve them. That one makes me do the happy dance. I mean, and not to say that you're, what's the word? Like you're untouchable in the sense of, I mean, if every condition can serve me, there's nothing that can break me. I mean, then I think in that way, you do lose fear. Like if we can convince ourselves that, oh, this is totally serving me. I mean, then what am I going to be afraid to try? I guess maybe all the things we're afraid of, if we just took like a different perspective, like turn the telescope a little bit, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
fear is actually some other
just
feeling, some other energy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you were
redirect
saying.
that energy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's good.
Wow.
That's good.
Fearless living. Here we come.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining us on the show today. Is there anything you want to add that we haven't talked about already?
Oh, there's always more, but
what's next for you,
we'll have
Faith?
to chat more later. For me, I would say, intention-wise, truly, I understand that's why I came home. My work now is to live all of these things in my personal life, in my everyday with my husband and my kids and all of my family, because all of them are here, my in-laws and my family. So, I mean, in a big way, that's my work, my spiritual work.
Yeah.
But as far as the music, that continues, of course. I just got a cool, and I wish I could do it with you, but I have a cool rendition of God Is. I have a choral version.
Yeah.
Anyone that loves pentatonics,
yeah.
They're a Grammy-winning group. Yeah, I hired their main arranger. I have a pentatonics arrangement of God Is. So I need a video and a recording. So that should be underway.
That's our next intention, Faith.
I would love that, and it needs to happen soon. So when are you coming to Hawaii?
Hold on, let me get on kayak real quick.
Yeah, I know. God, okay. So, and then I would say that the other bigger things going on for me is I'm setting up a virtual studio, just a basic one, so I can continue collaborations. I mean, I want to write my next best song, so virtual collaboration, session work, and eventually I want to create some fun spiritual Hawaii getaways where people come here and experience, talk about and play and pray and, and all this fun content of expanding our lives. So
that's awesome.
Those are just some of the things in the works.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks,
cool.
thanks.
Well, it's always a joy to get to talk with you, and I appreciate you so much being a part of this new project. And
You're welcome.
just look forward to working with you more in the future.
Thank you, John. I can't wait to see the impact of this film. But either way, it's been a great ride being with you, and so the best lies ahead for all of us.
That's it.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Faith.
As you think, so you will become.
Why? Why? Always me. Why?
But you notice it all begins with thought. James Allen was one of the first to do that, and he did it so crystal clear that it's still relevant today.
As a Man Thinketh, as his most popular book, was very widely read, very widely quoted. Its ideas were very widely adopted. It influenced a whole generation of self-help writers.
How is it that you have no wife,
no job, but you still don't have time to look over a freaking letter and sign it?
What a man thinketh, or what a woman thinketh in their heart, has a tendency to come into their life. So the law doesn't discriminate between, I'm very, very, very afraid of this, or I'm very, very available to this.
Do you want more?
I love that book. James Allen's book, As a Man Thinketh, is wonderful. Thoughts held in mind reproduce after their own kind. So when you hold something in mind and you let it move down into your heart and your feeling nature, you become extremely powerful.
A man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life.